What do you think about this one? Did it sound jazz? Let's check this one now. Which one of these two sounded the most jazz? Let's try one more. What do you think about this one? And now this one. Both of these examples was number 2 that sounded the most jazz. In the first ones we used arpeggios and scales, and in the second examples we used accents, enclosures and triads. As you see, we only need these tools to sound jazz on guitar, at least when you get started. When I first started to play jazz guitar, my teacher taught me to just use scales and arpeggios in the beginning. And now I know so much better, and this video today will save you years of confusion. It took me many years to relearn everything and start to focusing on the right stuff to play jazz guitar. I sounded like the first guy there in the examples for many years before I changed what I practiced on. I also had a really hard time to understand what accents was in the beginning. Let's compare with 2 examples again. Which example is with and without accents here? Example number 1. Example number 2. Which one was it? Number 2, right? Hey, by the way, be sure to share this video with anyone that you also think would like to learn jazz guitar. I just know that I would forever be grateful if I came across this video when I started to play jazz guitar. Alright, let's do one more. Example 1. Example 2. Could it be number 1? No, it's number 2, of course. Alright, so let's go through and learn some examples and some exercises that you should do in order to sound jazz guitar. Also, if you want to get an instant access to all my exclusive guitar lessons like my masterclasses, my private guitar lessons, and the tabs from this video here and all the tabs from all the other videos here on my YouTube channel, then be sure to check out my Patreon. I will put the link here down in the description. Alright, let's start with these accents. Here comes an exercise that I did a lot until I got my accents down. First, play the dominant bebop scale up and down. By the way, you don't need your guitar for this guitar lesson here today. Just save this video and learn this later. Oh, and by the way, use alternate picking. Now, the first thing would be to practice the upstrokes with accents. I will show you what I mean. Okay, now let's do accents on the downstrokes. Hey, also, by the way, if you want to study jazz guitar more, then be sure to check out this lesson I got here on my YouTube channel. I will put it somewhere here on the screen so you can press, and you can watch that video later after this one if you want to study jazz guitar more. Now, let's accent the downstrokes. Alright, let's try this bonus exercise as well now. Let's accent every third of our alternate picking pattern. I will show you what I mean. Okay, nice! So now when we have mastered this exercise, what is the next step? Alright, so the first thing would obviously be to check out my Patreon for my exclusive jazz guitar lessons. There you will get an instant access to all the tabs from this YouTube lesson and all the tabs from all my other YouTube lessons as well. You would also get an instant access to more than thousands of licks, 500 solo etudes to practice, accents and so on. You would get my private lessons, private coaching, my master classes. You would also get a direct contact with me, so you could reach out to me anytime, and I'm very happy to help you out with any questions or requests that you want me to teach there. Now we will apply accents to my 8-note solo etudes that you can find on my Patreon. Let me show you what I mean. Here comes the solo etude without accents. Now, let's do the solo etude from my Patreon with accents on the upstrokes. Okay, now, the next step would just be to play around with any accents you feel like. So this next step is like a mix of any accents that you feel like doing when playing. Let me show you what I would have done. To work and practice on your accents and then applying it is probably the absolute best way to start sounding jazz already today. Oh, and trust me, you can thank me later. Now, let's talk about arpeggios and triads. When I started to play jazz guitar with my teacher, I got taught that I should learn arpeggios. That was the first thing he told me. And now I realize that I should have worked on my triads instead. And hey, don't get me wrong, arpeggios are really cool, you know, like major 7 sharp 5, sharp 11 and so on, but trust me, triads are so much easier to think and use and apply. Basically, when you get started, the only thing you need to think of is if it is a major triad or a minor triad, at least in the beginning. You know, if the chord you're playing over is a major 7 chord or a flat 7, that is something that you don't need to think of, because when we play a triad we don't have that note to use. So basically, the triad saves us a lot of energy and brain power to use when we think and when we see chords and when we improvise. Then we only need to focus on if it is a minor or a major chord. Enclosures are probably one of the absolute most important tools to use when you play jazz guitar. But hey, wait, do you know what an enclosure is? Here is an enclosure. First, we want to land and target this note. Okay, now, here is an enclosure that I want to target and land on this note. This is a chromatic enclosure. This tool we will now apply and use when thinking and playing triads. Now, let's play the C major triad again. Okay, let's add an enclosure before it. Okay, now let's add and apply an enclosure after it as well. Ooh, that sounds jazz guitar if you ask me. Okay, so how do we practice this? Seriously, I would recommend you to not try this by yourself. You know, that is actually something I regret a lot when starting to play jazz guitar. Trying to invent my own exercises. Now looking back, I think the best way to learn jazz is to actually work and do the exercises from someone that knows jazz guitar and knows how to play it. You know, this will save you years of confusion when trying to learn how to play jazz guitar, and you will use a lot of unnecessarily energy to try to solve everything by yourself. You know, there is this saying, why invent the wheel when we already got one? You know what I mean. You can try it out by yourself, but Trust me, these exercises I'm showing you here today, I would have done anything to go back in time and give them to myself, so I would have practiced on the right stuff from the beginning. Alright, enough with the talking. Here comes some concrete examples of solo etudes you can get from my Patreon, where we apply accents and where you can learn how to really sound jazz guitar like 100%. Here we will apply these tools as accents, enclosures and triads. Also, by the way, the accents I'm doing are written out in the tabs, you will see it soon. And also, the numbers you see in the tabs above the tabs, you know, I will put it here so you can see, the little arrow. Those are the analyze of the note. That is the relation that note has to the chord it's being played over. So if it is a 1, it's the root. If it is a 3, like a big M and 3, caps M and 3, it's a major third, and a little m, it's minor third. And 5 is the 5th, 7 is a 7 and so on. It's really good to analyze and know what you're playing. That is also something I regret not doing when I started to play jazz guitar. Not analyzing what I played. But here today, you will already now see what you're playing. Much easier. This will save you a lot of energy and time. Almost all other notes then outside the triad, 1, 3, 5, all of the other ones, except those, could be seen as an enclosure, a chromatic enclosure or a scale note that we are using, but we're mostly thinking 1, 3, 5. I will show you what I mean. Now, let's do 3 examples of where we apply accents, enclosures and triads. Example number 1. Example number 2. Example number 3. Alright, thank you so much for watching my video here today, and I hope you have learned something. So basically, the accents are the most important thing, the rhythm basically. And then you apply that to real music, like real solo etudes that you can, for example, find on my Patreon. One more time, if you haven't checked it out, I will put the link here in the description. Alright, so which ones of these 3 examples were your favorite? Let me know in the comments, I would really like to know. Until next time, have fun and good luck with everything that I've been teaching you here today in this guitar lesson. See you soon again.